The agenda is a discussion of the status of the temporary occupancy permit for Lucas Plumbing at 250 South Lincoln Avenue. Is Mr. Lucas here? Okay. I'm actually going to ask Joanne Brown, who is our code enforcement officer, to bring council up to date on where we are. And if you wouldn't mind coming around to where there's a microphone.
I was going to actually use this. Is this
that's
good enough?
fine. That's fine as long as you're on the
My
microphone.
loud voice and...
Okay.
Okay. What I wanted to bring to council's attention so that they had some awareness of how we got to the current status in terms of history of this application. Mr. Lucas Plumbing filed a record plan back in the November of '08 with the county and subsequently obtained a building permit for construction from the Building and Zoning Department. Construction went along until September of '09 when Mr. Lucas Plumbing was issued a certificate of temporary use and occupancy certificate based on the fact that though the building construction had been completed and approved, the site had numerous issues relative to what had been done or left undone, and Gilmore and Associates, our engineers at the time, drew up a list of these items, and we issued the temporary use and occupancy permit, and Mr. Lucas signed the Gilmore letter listing all of the things that needed to be done. And I had him write, I agree to the above conditions and time frames. Time frame being that as of April the 30th, 2010, this temporary use and occupancy was to expire. You folks got a copy of all of this, inclusive of the Gilmore and Associates letter signed by Mr. Lucas. So we essentially gave him 6 months to bring his plan on the site up to do the things that were not done and change the things that were not right to meet the plan that was recorded at the county, which is his record plan for that site. As of April the 30th, those items still had not been completed. At that point, we had a new engineer, Ms. Saylor, and they went to the site to look at everything to affirm the situation, what had been completed, what had not been completed, and what the status was. And wrote a letter saying that they found this, and this not completed or, missing, whatever. And we agreed to extend the temporary use and occupancy to the end of May. That was taken care of. Mr. Lucas was notified that he had until the end of May to get this all done and to provide an as-built to the engineer. The as-built was provided, and again the engineers went to the site and looked at what the situation was, and apparently the as-built still had some missing items, and in terms of what was not built on the site that should have been. And there was still this discrepancy between the record plan, what was constructed, etc. At this point, they wrote, the engineer, Mary Ellen Saylor, wrote a letter dated April the 24th, I believe it is, saying, these are the things that remain undone, and we are at that point now, May 25th, excuse me. The letter was May 25th, saying that there's still a need for bringing the site to a conclusive, situation. At this point, Mr. Lucas has several options. A, he can do an as-built of everything on the site as he's completed it, and then complete it to that as-built. In other words, you can't just have a plan, it has to be built to the, right? This is what you were looking for, that the as-built and the actual happenings are the same. And Well, the record plan, that's another choice. The as-built and change his plan, come back through the process with a amended final plan, pay the relevant fee and escrows for that review. It will have to go back to the Planning Commission, it will have to go back to the engineer, zoning office, and probably the County Planning Commission, and then to the council for approval. Or he can change his site to what the record plan that's recorded already was supposed to have or not have. The engineer will review that, and that means ripping up some paving and stuff like that. I don't know that that'll be a choice that he makes, but that is a choice. He can go back to whatever he was supposed to have done relative to the record plan and do that. At this point, it's going to take a while to accomplish this, I'm sure, but I am requesting that we allow him till July the 15th. Extend this temporary use and occupancy to July the 15th to make one or the other of those choices. Submit new revised plan, or rip out and end up with the record plan. Otherwise, at that point, we will have to start the citation process, which, you know, for the violation of the various ordinances at this point, because there'll be another expiration. God, my mouth is dry. And at that point, we will have to take some action. And that's where I am with this. And those are the choices for Mr. Lucas.
Okay. Excuse me. Okay. Mr. Lucas, do you wish to respond? Let us know where you are on this.
Yes, I do. When we started construction, Gilmore was doing the inspections. They were working with me. And certain things that happened, they approved. They gave me a letter, which I signed, because I wanted a certificate of occupancy, of the list of items that remained to be completed. In the interim, they left town and Pickering came in. And for some reason, the list almost doubled. With things that were resolved, they became unresolved with the new engineering firm. And I'm trying to comply with all their wishes, and I've gotten just about everything that they want done. But my ultimate goal here is we're doing an as-built, and I had the engineer call to see exactly what they wanted. And he did the as-built, and then he found out that they wanted more than what he understood them to want. So I told him to call the engineer, because you have to give him an as-built. And the as-built that we are drawing up, we are trying to get as our approved plan. The letters they wanted, the shrubbery, the paving, I've done just about everything. There were a couple issues that they had, they wanted me to resolve. I have letters to resolve the issues. One was the dumpster site location. It was moved, and they wanted it back where it was. And I have the letters from SEPTA. I had the letters from LEC that they wanted, because they thought it might be a little bit hazardous where it is. It's not. It is corralled in with a fence, so it's hidden from view. And where they'd shown on the original plan on the side of the building, it blocked my access to the side of the building. So with Gilmore and everybody was there, we were making concessions because we never built this building before, and there were little flaws that we were not aware of until we went to do the job. And during the execution of the construction of it, we found things that weren't really workable, so we tried to make adjustments that would satisfy everybody and not be hazardous or unsafe or anything wrong with them. And Gilmore was working with me. They approved a few things. And as I said, then when you had a new engineer firm come in, they went back to square one, and I'm going over all of the things that Gilmore had allowed. And I never got them in writing because I didn't know I had to. And when Gilmore gave me a letter, they didn't have them on their letter as being undone or in violation of anything. But then when the engineer firms changed in the borough, I happened to get back to square one, and they gave me a whole list of items that were resolved prior. And that's what I'm a little confused about. How can the list all of a sudden grow when we had it under control?